Good afternoon. I know you're ready to go like honky-tonk and party and all that. We're almost there, as my bar instructor says. Just hold this plank for like 90 more seconds, then you're out of here, and it's gonna feel so good after. So for those of you that don't know me yet, I'm Claire Frick. I'm a senior strategist on Sierra's client strategy team. We wear many hats, so I won't go over all of my responsibilities and work. But there's one truth about me that's very applicable to this session. I am a Gen Zer, and no one's running out of the room. Okay, wonderful. A lot of times when you think of Gen Z, connecting with Gen Z, Gen Z can be a scarier word and concept than AI, as I found with many clients. They're like, oh my God, a Gen Z is approaching me. Like, what do? I'm from Florida. I had the exact same reaction when a crocodile was crawling on the sidewalk. I'm like, you know what, buddy? Let's just reason this out. Don't kill me, okay? We're both in survive. Get out of this like interaction. Do you want an influencer? I'll throw you an influencer. Like, is that what you want? Like, do you want a promo? That's fine. Do you want a promo? Just take it, okay? Whatever you want. I just want to appease you. And then we can all move on with our lives. But we can only throw an influencer at a crocodile or Gen Z for so long before we have to really just get comfortable, right? Like form that loyalty and that relationship with them and that understanding. So with that, we're gonna understand me for a second. This is my bookshelf at home in Florida, as I mentioned. I live in Florida. And this is quite the authentic look at me. We have Taylor Swift. Any Taylor Swift fans? Yeah, there we go. There's one. We're in Nashville. Everyone raise your hand. No, I was kidding. We also have some rom-com in there, so won't ask that question. We have some Kate Spade branded books, because I have been a loyal advocate for 10 years, so don't take my purses from me. We have some books on world domination, leadership and politics, because that's going to be like my second, third career. So why am I telling you all this? Like, why do you care? Pretty much, this is just a bookshelf, but we all have our bookshelves, literally or metaphorically, that represent 8, 10 different sides of us, right? So this applies to me, this applies to Gen Z, this applies to every single person in the room. And on top of all these different interests, we have different purchasing behaviors. So some I got from Amazon, some I got as gifted. Shout out to Dave, my boss, for giving me in the company, the women book up there. Some from my local bookstore, others from Target. I go in for bananas, come out with $500 worth of crap, and a book because it caught my attention, okay? I don't need to explain myself. So it's really complex, and it's really hard to understand. And it's not just about Gen Z. We are all extremely hard to understand to marketers. So when you hear Gen Z, don't think like, oh my God, they're this polka-dotted zebra, like I have to, completely reinvent the wheel. Think of the human experience. Think about your lives, think about the Gen Zers you know, and then apply that. We are harder to satisfy, so keep that in mind. Bring your A game. Ooh. Sorry, guys, this Gen Zer doesn't know how to operate a clicker. Super technology efficient. So this picture here is representative of a book club. Gen Z is a bunch of unique individuals kind of reading the same book in the same chapter of their lives, right? But they're all experiencing it differently. They have different motivations and behaviors and thoughts and reasons why they're staying there, reasons why they're leaving. So it's really just about understanding. It's about listening. It's about talking. It's about a two-way conversation. And easier said than done. Like, I totally get it. But we have to at least try to understand Gen Z. And you might be thinking, well, like, what's in it for me? I always ask that, every single thing. I'm like, what's in it for me, though? 2 things. Number 1, Gen Z has significant spending power, which we all like money, I know that. So spending power is number 1. And number 2 is they have significant influence. So some quick stats for you guys. Gen Z has $360 billion of spending power in the US, expected to grow exponentially over the next 10 years. On top of that, they're set to surpass Gen X in digital spending In 2025, that is this year, you guys, so like it is upon us. And then despite making up only 30% of the population and 25% of the workforce, guess what? They disproportionately influence culture, buying behavior, both B2C, B2C, of both themselves and people around them. So we heard in an earlier session that the B2B buyer is increasingly younger, right? Maria was talking about like 60% is Gen Z and millennials. Think about that in 5 years. I come into the organization and I'm like, hey, we should go with this tool, and everyone's like, yeah, okay, like, that's great, it's your opinion. And then now, I'm here and I think I've influenced like 5 different tools, and Sierra has bought as partners, and I'm like, yeah, now you're listening to me. Just kidding, and Sierra people, it's fine. But that's the point, right? Like they're increasing in influence, B2B buyers and B2C, so you really need to take that into account. Son of a gun. Okay, here we are. It ends with us is where we're starting. So an example of the power of Gen Z. They are on BookTok. Everyone familiar with BookTok? What do you people live under a rock? Oh my God, okay. You know what, never mind. BookTok is the book side of TikTok, and it's why Barnes & Noble is expanding by a lot this year, okay? It's fine, geez. Okay, but it's one book in a very crowded marketplace. And it was around for a while. Colleen Hoover, very popular author, the book was around for a while, and Gen Z got on TikTok, and they said, it was kind of good. And then 1 video was made, and then 10 videos were made, and then a bunch of videos were made, and it got super duper big, and now there are 1.4 million videos about it. And guess what? Hollywood said, heard, I hear you, okay, fine. We're gonna take your 41 million videos and we're gonna make a movie, because Gen Z, we want you guys to get back in theaters, and there's a huge market around this, and we saw the Taylor Swift effect, and we're going to see the Blake Lively effect, so we're gonna get you in theaters, and guess what, it worked. My butt was in theaters. Anyone recognize her from Gossip Girl, Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants? The Kelsey's brothers watched Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, so don't be ashamed. If they can do it, you can do it. But essentially, 1 book to now the big screen, because Gen Z started a conversation, and it built up, and it built up, and it built up, until it couldn't be ignored. All right. Betty is one of my favorite Gen Z authors, first time published. She is dropping another book in May, so I'm super excited for that. And she started off as just hosting a virtual book club on TikTok. She got really, really big, expanded Instagram, and she said, you know what? I like this idea of community, and I'm going to expand my community on platforms where this community is. So if you have a product or a service, again, find where that community is and expand to those places and lean into the unique aspects of those platforms. So for example, we have Instagram broadcast channels that some of my clients are starting to use, and it feels like more of a group chat than a brand talking to you. It feels like a friend. And that is what we want to achieve. There are also a few different content types that Betty found super successful that all of you can apply to your Gen Z marketing. So first of all, bring your product or service to life. Breathe some air into it. It's not dead in a coffin. It's walking and talking and being used in different ways. So really bring that to life and tell those stories. The second one, we are talking about experiential, community, events, all of these really good things. See the videographer? He's filming, okay? This is going on socials. Great example, same thing Betty did. She's filming events where her community is, she's participating, and she's creating her own events, and again, very active community member, and she's posting those on social channels for her larger digital community to react to and get excited for events coming near them, and really participating and connecting. This last one, not the prettiest thing you've ever seen, but it's a real authentic look behind the scenes. So again, apply this to your company, your product, your service. Show your coworkers. I work with Domino's, and they have their social media manager kind of as a face, and they're seeing content with that do extremely well. So it doesn't have to be pretty, just have faces, text overlays, audio, and movement, okay? Bring it to life. Speaking of bringing it to life, experiential. I've heard the term experiential like 20 times the past 2 days if I had a shot. For every single time I heard experiential, I'd be in the hospital or one of the official Broadway girls, so might do that later. I'm just kidding, you guys. But experiential is really, really coming into this unique form of pop-up shops. I'm sure you've heard of pop-ups, booths at different events. You have sponsorships and kind of bringing those to life unique ways, like the Rebel penalty box and sampling. One picture that my boss showed earlier in a panel was a lady sitting on a table. I was one behind the camera, unfortunately. She's like, hey, do you think I can get on the table? I was like, it's a folding table, ma'am. I can't be held responsible. And she's like, well, what if I just sit on it? I was like, let me clear this off for you. Sure, go for it. So just really embrace the energy in spaces where there's an immersive experience and you're surrounded by the service, the staff, to really help facilitate that energy and bring the good vibes, as they say. Another thing that's really important is filming content at these events and inviting influencers to also film content and post it to their communities and use that content later to promote it with paid dollars to really expand the reach and, again, bring that to lifeness to a bigger audience. All right, influencers, I've mentioned them a few times now. Does anyone know, we all know that influencers work, right? You're like, okay, got it, influencers for Gen Z, tell me that again. Why do they work? Anyone? They're experts at creating community and connection. They're experts at fostering that two-way conversation. This is why brands are not only using influencers and incorporating them beyond social into other campaigns, but they're also hiring influencers in-house to sit at their tables and tell them what to do. These 22-year-olds, 18-year-olds, whatever, telling people what to do, and you're like, doesn't seem right, but it actually does, it's working. Influencers, when you think of it kind of as this individual person, don't think of it as that anymore. Brands now have to be influencers. Brands have to be experts at creating connection and creating community. So all your brands need to be influencers. All right, Facebook's dead. So is the marketing funnel. Gen Z killed everything, I'm sorry. Except that's not entirely true. I met 10 of my best friends from where I live on Facebook in a Gen Z group. I know, don't tell anyone, it's so cringy. I know, it's terrible. Ugh. Ugh. But Facebook is really, and Mark Zuckerberg is like, yeah, you got me there. This is the one space that doesn't have ads and doesn't have politics and doesn't have a bunch of stuff that you're like, I'm quitting social media forever. It's really about those authentic connections and a bunch of people coming together in a community space. And this is a space that's facilitating that. This one's part of Girls Who Read. I'm part of that group, of course. And there are over 400,000 members, most from Gen Z. Weird, right? Brands are forming these groups, other interest-based groups. Penelope Bourbon, if anyone's familiar, they have the most passionate group of Facebook people I've ever seen in my life. I was like, wow, these are salespeople. Someone hired them. These aren't real people. But it is, and it's working, and Penelope is sales off the freaking charts, you guys. Speaking of reviews, everyone's very familiar with reviews. I'm not going to beat this with dead horse, but I do want to point out one thing. Gen Z wants their voice to be heard loudly. They want to influence people. They want to build their social status. They want to be the person that people look to and say, yeah, that person's cool. I'm going to listen to them. They have influence over me. But they're also, and they don't like to admit this as much, they're also influenced all the time by reviews. This isn't unique to Gen Z. This is across all generations. Be mindful of that. So be on the review sites and use them as mini focus groups. Use social listening to pick up on what they're saying and craft your strategies around that. Amazon, necessary evil. When it comes to convenience and connection, we think of Amazon as convenience, right? It comes to my door 24 hours, right? I got a cheap price. I can pick whatever I want from a billion different products. Yeah, Amazon's the place. Yes, and So is a local bookshop, for example. A brick and mortar. Gen Z loves to shop local. They're also shopping at Target. They're also shopping literally everywhere. The true definition of omnichannel shopper is Gen Z, but the difference between Amazon and this type of experience is I get to feel, I get to touch, I'm entertained, and it's kind of an experience where what I'm buying or what I come away with in my little shopping bag is like a souvenir. I think of it as the gift shop effect. I go for the experience, I come away with the Mickey Mouse ears or the book or whatever the heck y'all are selling, okay? So think of in-store as a crucial component of your strategy because Gen Z is shopping in store as much or more as they're shopping online. So consider that. All right, loyalty, one of my favorites. Gen Z love loyalty programs. You have, the traditional value, we're all broke and drowning student debt, whatever, so like, give us our money off. But on top of it, we've had this second layer of exclusivity. So invite me to your member-only events, or I want, to give input on whatever it is. A new product, a new service, whatever you're offering, I want extra input. I want to be recognized for that. Exclusive content, gifting. Gifting is huge, seeding products and getting feedback. But we have this last component of ambassadorship. Usually we think of ambassadors as a totally separate program. Those have nothing to do with my loyalty program. Don't confuse the two. I like to keep everything separate, just like I get to keep my MarTech stack completely separate. No, inefficiencies, don't do it. Think of your members as an extension of your sales team, because they already are, and as a lifelong friend. So instead of kind of overwhelming them with messages and emails and coming off as kind of this like desperate ex that they kind of like tolerate a little bit, because like I'm still on their Netflix account and like don't remove me from it. Instead of that, be a supportive friend, you guys. Listen to them, reward them. If they're posting UGC, if they're referring people on social media, give them a code. It costs you literally nothing. It improves your tracking. All of those different ambassador program things that we think of usually siloed, give them to your loyalty members. They're going to become the biggest advocates for you, and it's going to be more trackable. All right, get out your phones. Like a true Gen Zer, get those phones out and take a picture. This is going to be really kind of your one-sheeter that you refer back to. Your boss comes at you, oh God, not the Gen Zer again, what do I do? Quick, toss them this. They'll know what to do with it. All right, I'm going to give you 3, 2, 1. Okay, next. I also wrote an ebook because I like my voice to be heard as a Gen Zer. So go ahead and scan that link, you guys. There's my ebook. All right, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. I hope you learned a little something.